Yay. All right. Okay, it says we're live. Sorry for the delay. I had a little bit of technical issues right then, but thank you for joining me today and on your Monday, your day off. I appreciate it. All right, looks like everything is good here. Hi, my name is Ariana. Thank you so much again for having me. Salon Republic, thank you for having me. I'm here to talk about some Guiding Mydentity education and some fun new shades that have just released. So thank you again for having me here. As I go on through this, please, if you have any questions, put them in the comments and I will try to answer them as they come up. And if this is a rewatch and you're watching this later on, again, please leave some comment or leave your questions. You can reach out and anybody on the Guiding Mydentity team would be happy to answer any questions, myself included. So please, any questions, even if it's not related to necessarily what I'm talking about, feel free. I would love to answer anything. So before too much time goes past, again, my name is Ariana. I'm an educator for Guiding Mydentity, and I'm here today to share some new shades with you. We just launched 4 new shades. So we have Night Warrior, Titanium Shield, Loverboy, and Heartbreaker. So these are in our Superpower and Vibrant Pastel line. And if you are not familiar, we have the most incredible shades in both Superpower and Vibrant Pastel shades. And the Superpowers can last up to 50 shampoos. And our Vibrant Pastels are not as, at 50 shampoos, but they do last really well. And as they evolve, they're really beautiful. So for me, it's always nice that I know when I send my clients home, they're going to look amazing until the next time I see them. So that is always a good feeling. Again, the new shades, so our Superpower shades here, you'll see them in the pink boxes with Guy as his own superhero. And that's Night Warrior and Titanium Shield. So Night Warrior is going to be a true black, and I have some swatches that I'll show you in a second. And Titanium Shield is going to be the most beautiful silver. So I'll grab those swatches to show you. And then in our Vibrant Pastel, we have, again, Heartbreaker and Loverboy, and you're going to find them in these boxes. You can see that. And these are great because these are going to be like your rose golds in direct dye. So that's super helpful because I know for a lot of people, like longevity is a thing with delicate tones like rose gold. So this is going to give you another way to really coat that pigment onto your client's hair so that they go home and they have that longevity with the product. So I'm going to grab the swatches I made here. So if you look here, I've swatched out Loverboy, Heartbreaker, Titanium Shield, and Night Warrior. So I'll try to get the board closer. But if you look here, you can see Loverboy here is going to be your warmer version of rose gold, where Heartbreaker is going to be a little bit cooler. So it gives you options. And not only that, but they're intermixable with every shade that we have in the collection. That's a direct dye. So you're able to create a ton of really unique shades with the 2 of them. If you have any questions about Cosmic Coral, because I feel like a lot of people are like, well, what's the difference between Cosmic Coral and the new Loverboy and Heartbreaker shades? You can see Cosmic Coral is almost a little bit more, I'd say like animated, where you're going to have a more natural reflection with the Loverboy and Heartbreaker up at top. So again, this is going to be just pure. This is the level that it started at up top, and deposited on dry hair, processed for 20 minutes. So that's going to be how we can guarantee that longevity, because I know a lot of times, you apply on wet hair or you put it on and you rinse it off really soon, then the longevity of the colors are going to vary. But 20 minutes dry hair, that's that tone that you're going to get. It's really beautiful. Again, very like natural and wearable, which I think is so different for direct dyes because we're so used to seeing, the bright pinks and the Phoenix Fire and all of these really beautiful tones. But this is going to be more wearable, which is a great way to like get your clients to kind of dip their toes into some fun new shades. Over here, you're going to see Titanium Shield, pure straight from the tube. and Night Warrior here, our true black here, which is so beautiful. And then down below, I swatched out our charcoal, so you can see the difference between all three of them. They all have their place, and I love it. And again, all of them are intermixable. So you have your Night Warrior here, which is going to be a great additive into any direct eye to give like a shadow root or to really deepen that pigment. And then Titanium Shield, again, it's like the most perfect silver. And I hope you guys can catch that. Guy did a whole bunch of swatches, and they're on his Instagram, so you can always go there and find them. These were ones that I did that I thought were fun. So down here, you're going to see Magenta Magic. And at top, it's kind of hard to tell here, I intermixed equal parts Magenta Magic with Night Warrior. So you can see it really does deepen that tone. And again, that's equal parts. So you can do, you know, a few grams to it. You can do that, but I just wanted to show you. And it kind of, in person, gives like a little bit of a berry tone to it. Next to that is Phoenix Fire. And I put just a drop of Night Warrior to that. And you can see how natural that made the Phoenix Fire, which is great for if you have any clients that are, you know, copper or like the, you know, natural tones. And then you can use this to give a glaze. And again, this is one drop of Night Warrior to the Phoenix Fire. Next to that is Lightning Bolt. You can see it kind of created this really beautiful like chartreuse tone. And it's one of my favorite colors. So I was super excited to see that. And again, it was a drop of Night Warrior. This is our Green Aurora. And again, adding equal parts to that so you could see how deep you can do that. And I love it because I know, especially for like my Crimson Spell on the end here, I'm able to give that shadow root, because especially for reds, I feel like I don't want their roots to go glowing. And then as they wear it and their hair grows, it gives her a really natural wear. And I feel like especially after, you know, the quarantine stuff, a lot of people want something that is an easy grow out. And I think this is a great option for those direct dyes to do that. So what I'll be doing next is bringing this doll head over here. So I'll be showing you a technique that I learned from Guy, and it's a good way. I kind of adapted it a little bit, where I think it's a great way to get your clients to kind of dip their toes into some fun color placement. Because I know as an artist behind the chair, you can kind of get bored of just doing the same color amount over and over again. So this is a fun application to kind of create a different look that is still wearable, because you're going to have a veil that goes over, so your clients can kind of have fun the way they style their hair. They'll be able to see the different tones in there. And I have a completed doll head, so I'll show you that afterwards. But first things first, with the direct dyes, you want to make sure your canvas is nice, clean, even. Depending on the shade you choose, you're going to want to make sure that they're, you know, level 9, 10. I'm going to be using all the new shades today on this doll head. So I wanted it to be a clean level 10 so you can really see the tonality of each shade. So always make sure you're starting off with, like I said, a really nice clean canvas. And then let me back her up here a little bit. I want to make sure everyone can see. So if you're having trouble seeing, please let me know and I can adjust, but I'll raise her up a little bit too here. I want you to be able to see the sectioning. Something that I've always really admired about Guy and how he applies color is how clean it always is. And when you have a clean application and clean sectioning, it makes for the end result to be just as clean and pretty. And I think that's a huge thing when we're behind the chair and we're taking so much time to create these looks, that we want to make it nice from start to finish. So on this doll head here, I've sectioned her, and I'm going to tilt her forward for you. So you can see there's a diamond section up top here. So if I move her, you can see. Now this doll head, again, doll heads are kind of funky with their hairline. So her hair was naturally just parting down the center, and I didn't want to fight it because, again, it's a doll head and their hairline's already kind of wonky. So I took a diamond section, keeping in mind that, again, she has a center part. And I've taken that diamond section and I've clipped it out of the way. And from that, I've parted and sectioned each side to be pretty clean as well. So from the point of the diamond, I've gone down. So everything behind that is going to be its own section here. And then everything here is going to be its own section. And I've taken a bit of the perimeter out so that I can go in there and I will do like a color melt there. So again, this is a nice way to get that holographic look, but give it a wearable twist so that clients feel like, you know, depending on what industry they work in, that this is something that they can feel comfortable wearing. And again, dip their toes into it and get us being creative. And that's why we're in this industry, right? So again, I've taken the section and from the point of the diamond, I've sectioned down. And then under here, you'll see I've taken the bottom section here. I'll lift her up. I've taken that bottom section and I've done a color melt. I did this prior to starting just so that, again, I wouldn't bore you guys. But if I take this down, you can see the color is processing and it just looks so pretty processing. You can see the tones and I'll let you know what I mixed in the formulas and how I melted it in. And you can see that silver on the bottom there and it's really gorgeous. So I'll cover that up. And again, trying to keep it nice and clean and organized so that when I go in and do this holographic portion, I'm not like contaminating anything I don't want to contaminate. But the nice thing is with these direct dyes is they are very forgiving. So like up here when I applied these two holographic sections, I had a little bit of the routage formula merge onto this, but it's totally fine because I'm going to take that routage formula on there. I just wanted to make sure that I'm applying it section by section so that I can keep it clean and organized. So if you're just hopping on, I'm just recapping on my sectioning here. So she's got a diamond section here, and this is going to be the veil. So this is what's going to fall over that holographic like prism look so that it kind of like blends and gives like a very seamless finish so that, again, clients who want to try it out but they're a little intimidated, this is a really nice way to do it. So it's kind of internal. It's like sandwiched in between these really pretty like color melting portions so that it gives a very seamless melted look. So everything that's in between is going to be what I do the holograph on. So as you can see on this side here, I've already done the technique and I rolled it up, clipped it up so it's all out of the way, nice and clean. And then everything around the perimeter, I will do a color melt. I'm thinking of doing the titanium shield a little bit brighter. So around the face, it gives that like pop of brightness. I think that's really popular right now with like those money pieces and everything. So that's kind of the motive with that. And also with having, you know, sometimes you have the clients with the baby hairs. I had a baby last year and then all of my hair started to fall out like 4 months in and I had all these baby hairs right around my hairline and you don't want to draw attention to them. I was like, oh my God, I'm balding. What am I going to do? So this is something, always keep in mind your clients, how they wear their hair. I have a lot of clients that are nurses and when they go to work, they have to wear their hair back. So if you highlight all those baby hairs that are right here around the face, it's going to look like their hair broke off. And that's not what we want that's not what the goal is. We always want to make our clients' hair look nice, healthy, shiny, and like we didn't break it. So definitely keeping that in mind with sectioning, especially when we're doing a holographic technique and when you're applying the colors in the certain ways. So before I go on too long with that, let me tilt my camera down just a little bit here. This is my home. Welcome to my home. The internet's a little bit better here, so I wanted to make sure everybody had good image. So I'm going to take that diamond section. I'm just going to tuck it out of the way. And again, these colors are really forgiving. So if you have a little bit of merging, don't stress out because you're going to be over directing and applying color and it's all going to work out nice and pretty. But the cleaner we can keep it, obviously the better. So this is all going to be holographic. And I've already squeezed out the colors I'll be using. So in these bowls here, you can see this is Heartbreaker and this is Loverboy. So again, these are going to be like the natural, like rose gold, very, again, wearable shades. So a great way to have your clients who want to try shades out. This is going to be a great way to introduce them to those shades. And that's straight from the tube. I didn't intermix them with anything or dilute them with the sheer power at all. That's just the shades True. And then in our other bowls here, I have Titanium Shield, and I did mix that 2 parts Titanium Shield to 1 part sheer power because I wanted it to just be a little bit more light for the holographic technique, because I want it to kind of draw some focus in on that band. And then here is the Night Warrior, and I did mix Night Warrior 2 parts Titanium Shield to 1 part Night Warrior, so that I have a nice pigment there, and that's going to be the shadow root. So what I'll be doing first is gloving up here. And please, again, if there's any questions at any time, feel free to ask, even if they're not about these shades or this technique. I'm just super stoked to be here with you guys. All right. So part of this technique that I love is that we over direct. And I think it's really cool when stylists, and I notice Sky does this a lot, is you really adapt our knowledge for cutting hair to applying color, because it does go hand in hand. So I think when we start to do that, we can create really seamless, beautiful looks, because if we're over directing, we're going to be creating a nice blend so that when it falls back down, you're going to see a very seamless waterfall effect, versus if we just paint straight down, which is totally cool if you want a more, direct, seeing those separations of colors, then that's definitely something that you can do. And that's totally up to you artistically. But I do like using the over direction of the hair to soften the look. Again, I'm going for more of a subtle version of it, so that my clients, I have a real estate agent client who did this, and it was just a little pop of something fun for her, but she's able to put it away if she needs to. And depending on how she styles it, it's again very wearable, and she loved it. And it was fun for me to do because it gets us away from doing the same thing over and over again, which can be so redundant. So I'm taking a thin section, and I like to do my subsections prior to applying the color, because then I can keep it cleaner. And again, clean application is going to make the overall look nice and clean. So I'm using one of our smaller brushes here, very minimal product on it. And again, I've sectioned her and I'm directing it away from the face. And right now I'm just laying down that routage formula. And again, this is Night Warrior, 2 parts Titanium Shield, 1 part Night Warrior, because I wanted it to be really nice and smoky. But I didn't want I wanted it not as strong of a contrast. I wanted it just to be smoky, and it's the perfect, you're not going to see blue tones, you're not going to see, so that you won't see any greens, which is awesome, because that's the worst when you're applying color and there's a little surprise when you rinse it out. I know with these I'm going to have a really beautiful result. And then any flyaways, just kind of tame them. Overall, this technique is pretty quick. It's going to take me a little bit longer just because I'm working with her a little bit higher, so that hopefully you guys can see on the screen. And as I get ready to do the holographic part, I will tilt her a little bit. Right now I'm just laying down again that routage formula. And I'm not dragging it out too far because, again, I just wanted to add a little bit of smokiness to the root. And this is really nice too for, your clients that have a darker natural starting level, because you're going to give them a little bit more longevity with it, because it's going to seamlessly blend as they have regrowth, which I love. Again, you always want to see your clients walking around Target looking like how they're supposed to look. You don't want to see them there and their hair be a mess. So everything I can do to ensure that my clients always look nice and fresh, I will do. All right. So the Routage formula is laid down, and now I'm going to pick that hair back up. Again, keeping it always nice and clean. Holding with tension is always good. It's harder on a doll head where she's on a stand right now. So if I pull too hard, she's going to pop right off. But with your clients, it's always nice to make sure that, you know, they understand not to kind of lean into it with you, to have that little tension when you're folding the hair over. That way you don't have any accidents is always nice. All right. So now I'm going to prepare a mesh sheet for the pattern that will be going on to the hair. So I'm taking a long mesh sheet on a foil board, and I'm going to be pre-painting my formulas onto it so that I can lay the hair down, and it gives me something to anchor the hair to. And the reason I didn't do the Routage formula in that was because I wanted to keep it nice and clean and keep the subsections also clean, so that when I go in there and take the fine layers and put it over the board, it keeps it nice and tidy so that there's not a big mess going on. So my first formula is going to be Heartbreaker. Again, Heartbreaker is going to be a little bit cooler of a tone. So I like putting that tone against the Routage formula because I feel like coolness absorbs light. So it's going to give you a nice transition into the Loverboy, which is a little bit warmer. So it's going to reflect a little bit more. And then we're going to have that contrast with Titanium Shield. So I'm going to take the board. I'm just going to go up here. I'm going to pre-paint the section of Heartbreaker on there. And then I'll follow by doing Loverboy. And again, you don't have to use a ton of product. The consistency is really, really creamy. So I know that I'm not going to have any holidays because I can go in there. There's not going to be any hollow spots. It really does saturate very nicely. And then I'm taking our Titanium Shield. And again, this is Titanium Shield mixed with Sheer Power. If you guys have not played with Sheer Power in the shades, I highly recommend. It gives you so many more options for creating custom formulas. And again, creating like very wearable looks, because I feel like there's always that time where you want to be really fun and extra and have all the really vibrant shades. But sometimes it's nice to take those vibrant shades and put like a natural like twist on them with how you formulate and where you place them. And then just repeated the pattern with Heartbreaker down at the bottom. So you can see I have the pattern laying here. So when I apply the hair over, it's going to be anchored down and I don't have to struggle with the hair flying all about. It's going to help me keep it nice and clean. Except if you drop it, don't do that. But normally I'm not holding it up either. So again, I'm going to take this, and before I get too far, I want to take my comb, and then I always have a towel on me. It's the little things that make life a lot easier so that I can keep sections clean. I can wipe the tip of the comb, wipe the ends of the brush, my gloves if anything transfers. And I'm going to take a nice thin section. You want to be able to see through the section. If you can't see through it, then it's a little too thick. Again, this product is amazing for application, and it saturates really nicely because of that creaminess, but you don't want to make your life harder. So definitely nice thin sections so that you can be sure that you've covered everything. So I'm going to lay that section over, and I'm going to try to tilt it a little bit here, a different direction. So hopefully you can see I'll bend her a little bit too. Okay, so I laid that flat panel right over. And again, because I have the formulas laid down, the hair's not going anywhere, so I don't have to stress out. I will take the Heartbreaker and I'm going to apply it to the ends first. That way I know that when I go in and apply the next formulas, the ends aren't going to get all messy. This, again, is another way to anchor it and keep the application nice and clean. So just make sure it's on there. I'm going to take a little bit more. I always like to keep my bowls clean too, so I don't like to dunk them in and like get a whole bunch of product because then it gets the brush messy. But I'll kind of swipe up on the side of the lip so I can get minimal product and keep the brush nice and clean. And applying that top formula. So I knock out the Heartbreaker formula, which again is going to be your little bit cooler version of Rose Gold. And then I'm going to take Loverboy next. And again, hit it down at the bottom. And at the next part. And again, when you're working and doing this on a client, have them move to you because you don't want to be in pain at the end of the day. Normally I wouldn't be working this high, but I feel like it might be the best angle for you guys. So I want to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. But again, normally I would have her lower and then lean into it a little bit. And then now I'm going to take Titanium Shield and apply that to the center. So it keeps, again, the formula is really clean. So you're going to see that separation and they're blurring just a little bit. The Gaiteng brushes are amazing because they have like a little bit of feathering at the ends of them so that when you're applying, you have that tiny bit of like a blend already. So that kind of helps so you don't have to work as hard. Now I'm going to take another thin section and I'm going to keep it nice and flat. You don't want to like rope it up like that because if you do that, when you lay it down, you're going to make it really hard to penetrate and get through to all the hair. So keep it nice and flat and you just layer right over. And I'm over directing this all the way from the face. So her face is over here and I'm pulling it back away from the face so that when it falls, it's going to be even more seamless, which again is part of the vibe of what I'm going for. So I'm going to, again, hit the bottom here and then the root formula here. And I'm blurring it right into that Night Warrior formula because I want it to be very, again, blended and seamless. Now, Loverboy. And again, I wanted to draw the attention to that like prism like line in the center. So I'm bringing the attention by using a little bit of a warmer shade because again, cool shades will absorb more light where warm shades will reflect them. And you can do any kind of color pattern you want to do. Again, I just wanted to be able to use all of our new ones because I was super stoked about them. And that way you can see them. And if you guys want them and they're not in your Salon Republic store, you can always request for them from your Salon Republic rep in the building. So you can always grab all of the amazing Gaiteng Mydentity shades. All right, so keeping it nice and clean again. Another thin section here. And then a flat panel overlay. And the nice thing about this too is because you're constantly pulling those thin sections over and across, you are definitely penetrating because you're going to keep layering that product on. So you really don't have to be stressed out that you're going to have any hollow spots. I'm keeping it with that application. And I love how creamy the colors are. There's no like chunkiness to them. They just glide right on. And they go really far. Like I feel like I'm able to get a lot of coverage on somebody's head with a tube, which is awesome. And then Titanium Shield. Right down the center. And then I'm just subtly blurring over. You can always take your brush vertically, kind of swipe and make sure that you're nice and applied throughout. And then overlaying that. And then if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask. I think it's really cool that we have these, again, like natural tones in direct dyes, because it gives so many more options for like color applications and like being creative with them, because they are intermixable. So it's super cool to see like different custom shades. I know Guy has some swatches that he's done so many different formulas with. And I think that's also awesome. It's like you really get to see all the different things you can do, because Guy is constantly doing some really cool projects and sharing everything, which I appreciate. And then just applying across. So from start to finish, this wouldn't, again, take me too long. The process is pretty simple. I think the key part is that over directing away from the face, so that when it falls forward, you're getting that really nice seamless result. And it's kind of like a hybrid, because you're doing the holographic and then you're also incorporating those color melts so that you can create nice wearable looks for your client. And then as these colors evolve, it's going to look really beautiful. You're not going to have to worry about, you know, what kind of color correction is going to come back in. The superpowers always evolve on tone. So they're really, really just beautiful. Like I have clients that come back and they're like, everybody asks why I'm getting my hair done, because I think I just got it done. Because as they wash their hair and it evolves, they have a new look, which is really fun and convenient for them, because again, the world shut down and I don't think anyone saw that coming. So it's really cool that we can give our clients something that they can wear and have a longevity with. So this is the last section here. Keeping it nice and clean. And if you have a client that has longer hair and they want this, you can always repeat the pattern on and on. Or, I mean, if you wanted to, you could make them a little bit wider, but you have options of playing around with it. This doll head's a little bit shorter, so it worked out to like squeeze the pattern in there this way. But you can always, like I said, you know, do a repeat pattern or incorporate more shades, which would be fun. I just wanted everyone to be able to see these new ones. All right, so now that was the last section. So I'm going to take another mesh sheet here. I'm going to lay it over, keep it nice and clean, and then just roll it on up and keep it out of the way so that I can work on the other sections here. And just clip that guy there. And now I'm going to turn her. Hello, thank you for joining. If you're just coming on, I'm doing a holographic technique utilizing all of our new shades that we just launched that you can get at your Salon Republic store. All right, so again, for this section, now we're working, and this is towards the back part. So I'll lift her up here so you can see what I'm working with. So this is the back quadrant here. So again, I'm going to over direct it so that when it lays down, it's nice and seamless. This is a little bit of a bigger section, so you're going to have more of that prism, which is nice because when you're thinking about, you're intentionally putting this long shape in, so it'll widen. So as it's wrapping around the head, you're going to create this really long flowy effect. So in this section here, I'm going to be applying the Routage formula, and then repeating what I did up in front. So let me turn her here. Again, I'm over directing it the opposite direction so that when it falls and lays down, you're going to get nice and seamless. So I'm going to take our Night Warrior, and this again is Night Warrior mixed with Titanium Shield, so it kind of softens it just a little bit because I wanted it to still be really smoky and impactful, but keep it just a tiny bit sheared out. But I didn't want to use sheer power since we have the Titanium Shield now for a silver reflection. So keeping it nice and clean, getting that routage on, and then because I'm working in this small section, just want to make sure that I'm being precise with application. That's why I'm using the smaller brush for this, so that I can get into the smaller quadrants and not worry about making a big mess. And this one. You can always apply the routage formula all over first if you would like, and then jump in. I just find it's a little bit easier to like subsection it this way and tackle it so that I'm keeping everything nice and tidy, because you don't want to get Night Warrior on the very ends, and if you're using that, or depending on what shade you're using, I want those ends to pick up the tone of Heartbreaker, which is what's on the prism sections. But when we go in and we do the color melting on the veil portion, I'll be tipping it out with the Titanium Shield and Sheer Power. So right now, if you can't see what I'm doing, I'm just hitting the routage area. I'll turn it towards you because that'll be easier. So I'm hitting that routage so that I can keep the sections clean as I do the holographic application. And then subsection again. All right. And last one. And even for applying the routage formula, I like to keep nice thin sections. That way I know that it's getting in there and keep it nice and clean. Okay, so now that that's done, I will turn her one more time. I'll try to tilt her towards you guys. All right, so this again is going to be the holographic portion. So you're getting that sandwich between, and this right here that you see is going to be that veil. So I'm going to, again, hold it with tension and then take thin section. I'll set that over here. I'm going to grab another mesh sheet on my foil board, just so I have a little bit of something to anchor it to. But once I get a few slices going, I drop the board and just use the hair as the anchor. And again, you can use any shade you want. Get really fun and creative with it. These are just our new shades, so I wanted to be able to show them all, and it was just a fun look too. I can't wait for you to see the doll head. It was in the photo. Didn't realize when I took that photo it was going to be on the little flyer part. Probably would have put her on the doll head stand, but I think you got the idea. All right, and then end it. So you can see that Titanium Shield in the center is going to be really nice and reflective once it all falls. So I'm taking that thin section. I'm going to lay the board down, get nice and snug in, and lay it over. I rubbed just a little bit, so I'm gonna take that comb and just make sure it's nice and smooth. In a flat panel, I'm gonna take that last formula, anchor those ends down. Get in there. Get nice thin sections so you don't have to worry about any hollow spots. There we go. And it's so much easier applying, because the first time I tried it, I totally forgot about applying to the bottom part first. I applied up at top, and then it snagged and pulled all of the hair up, and then it was a mess. So by holding and anchoring and applying those formulas at the bottom, it's going to help you a lot. And then I go in, apply that titanium shield, keep it nice and clean. I'm going to drop the board so I can take my next section. And nice and thin, hold it over. And I'll repeat this until I'm done with this section. But it does move pretty quick. And I think it also helps, like, again, having everything pre-sectioned out so I don't have to like fumble around and figure out what's supposed to go where. I think that's a good way. It's kind of creating a roadmap so I just know where I have to go next instead of trying to go in and figure it out as I'm going. So it keeps it clean, organized, and then that'll make it for a really beautiful color at the end. I know there are days where I rush a little bit and then things get messy and then I regret it because then I end up having to fix a problem because I was being a little messy. So taking the extra time actually saves you time, I think, in the end, because then you're not having to fix anything, which is always a good thing. And again, I'm just blurring that right over the routage formula, and it's just going to give a little bit of depth to the Heartbreaker by melting it into that Night Warrior titanium shield mixture. And then just continue on. And again, these are new to the Superpower and Vibrant Pastel line. So we have so many options, which is so cool. And they're all like super key. And you can intermix them all and get really fun custom shades, which I love. And I'm over directing this all back so that when it falls, it's going to be nice and seamless. Keeping my brush clean, as clean as possible. And it's always fun to introduce these types of looks to clients, especially when they think that it's something that they can't wear because of work or because of age or anything like that. I feel like this is such a great way to make clients excited again. And I know a lot of the time when I like meet new clients, and one of the first things they say is that they wanted to try something new, but their stylist was just used to what their normal like look was, like what they were used to. And I know I can be guilty of that too, where I have clients that come in and you know what their formula is and you're comfortable with them and you mix a formula, and then all of a sudden they're like, actually I wanted to change it up. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even ask. So it's always like, consultation is always so important, even for clients that you see every 4 weeks or every 6 weeks, because they might be bored. And I mean, if they're bored, then you don't want them going somewhere else. And with, you know, different techniques or different formulas, keeps them excited. And that's another thing about the line that I love is all of our names are so exciting. Like Heartbreaker, Lover Boy, you know, like that's so much fun when you're telling your clients, oh, I'm going to make you a heartbreaker, and they get all excited, and it gets them excited. It keeps us excited because it can be so boring if we're just, you know, doing gray retouch and not ever introducing something new to our clients. So I think these are fun ways to switch it up, keep them excited, keep them coming back to your chair, and letting them know that you're open to giving them new looks too. We have probably 1 or 2 more sections in here, and then that'll be it for this portion. Pretty simple, but nice and impactful. And you just want to keep it nice and clean. I dropped the board, like I said, just when I'm working in this smaller section. It's a little easier just to use my hand than to have the board, especially since I'm working up a little bit higher. If she was a little bit lower in my chair, I might still be using the board, but again, I'm trying to make it so that you guys can see what's happening and also not give myself a double chin, because I don't need a double chin today. All right, I'm just laying it over. Get in. Oh. And if you have little hairs that want to belong to another section, let them. Don't fight the hair. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Sometimes I feel like even just watching somebody do something that you already do, like I always kind of pick something up, even if it's something small, like the way I'm holding the brush or the over directing. It can be a tiny thing. And I know, like I said, we kind of get into like a groove of how we do things. And then you watch somebody, you're like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Why have I not been doing that? So I hope you guys are enjoying it. I know I've watched Guy do things a billion times, and every time I'm like, oh my God, why have I not noticed that before? And I'm Ingrid, smudging that formula right over Night Warrior. Gives for a more seamless look. And that's the cool thing too. Like these colors, when they kind of like contaminate each other, they look really nice still. They definitely complement each other. And hit that center. You notice the application of each section gets a little bit wider as it's over directed. And that again kind of goes with creating that seamless result at the end. All right. And that was the last section there. So I'll take one of my mesh sheets, lay it on over. And roll her back. So now that I have all of those done, you can see back here where I have the color melt. And then each of these subsections are the holographic, so it's going to be sandwiched in between. So you're going to have the color melt underneath. And again, you want to think about hair colors like contouring. So by giving that color melt underneath and dragging some of those deeper tones around the neck, I'm going to be contouring and giving that shape of the neck. And then by creating this veil, it's going to kind of harmonize everything together so that you get a really beautiful finish when it's all done and styled. So nice and clean still, kept it nice and tucked out of the way from all of the stuff going around. And I'm going to take her and I'll turn it to the side here. So I'm going to lay her routage formula down. Again, each section I left the routage out so that I could tackle it and then work my way through. I personally like to lay down one formula at a time versus applying the routage, the mid, and the end formula to each subsection. I'd rather lay the routage formula down throughout the whole diamond section up here, and then the mid and that, because I feel like I can create a better blend that way. And then the tones are laying down the same amount of time. So I don't have one thing processing too long in one spot. And then, you know, sometimes clients have like porosity things and stuff like that you want to think about. So I like to get in there with each formula and keep it clean. That way I'm not contaminating things I don't want to contaminate. And again, I'm not dragging this routage out too far. I just want to give some depth, and I find it's a really nice way to give clients more longevity with their look, to have that routage. I do have clients though that will ask like not to have a shadow routage laid down. And so of course for them, I'll keep it bright if that's what they want. And that's again part of having that consultation. That's so important. Like my client yesterday, I've done her hair 4 times now. She was a new client. And each time I sit down, have a conversation again with her, and I'm still, you know, getting to know her and wanting to, you know, create the best formulas for her. But she always has different reference photos, which keeps it exciting for me. And by making sure that I don't automatically just say, oh, I'm toning you with this and this, and create and mix a formula before I talk to her. And it's always, I always have a good time with her. And I try to do that with new client or old clients as well, because again, when we get comfortable, we tend to fall into like a pattern. But when we have the conversation and we find out, you know, maybe their job changed, or maybe they've went through a breakup or something like that, and they want to try something different, and that's why they come to us. And I think that's so cool that we have this like really unique relationship with our clients that a lot of other professions don't really have. So, and I see them, you know, some clients every 4 weeks, some clients every 6 months. So a lot of things can change in that time. And I love it. All right, last section here. All right, so that was again our Night Warrior with titanium shield. So now I'm going to move on to Heartbreaker, and this is just going to be a little bit of a blur to connect Loverboy into, because I want this veil to be very blended, if you will, so that as it lays over, you're seeing what's happening underneath and it's not muddy. So I'm going to keep the Heartbreaker higher here, just using it to connect into Loverboy. So again, Heartbreaker and Loverboy are going to be your like rose gold direct dyes. Heartbreaker being a little bit cooler, Loverboy being a little bit warmer. So you have the options, because you know some people, when they think of rose gold, they think of like a very pink or like a very warm tone, and sometimes they think of a cooler tone. Like my laptop is a little bit warmer, but there's so many different variations, and this gives you tons of options. And it goes hand in hand too, because we have our rose gold, which is going to be our cooler rose gold in the line, and then you have Naked Blush, which is going to be your warmer rose gold. So you have so many options. And I still get people asking for rose gold, so it's nice to be able to change it up in the formulas and have options for people. All right. Now that I have that down, I'm going to go into Loverboy. And keeping it clean. And I'm really merging those tones together. I apply it away from the Heartbreaker, and then I work my way up a little bit so that there's a subtle like contamination of the tones so that they blend really nicely. And then working my way up. You can see how as I'm applying this, I am pulling it away so it's going to fall away from the client's face so they can sit there and be comfortable and keep it nice and clean. So applying that away from the Heartbreaker and then dragging it up into it so that you get the true tone right below. There we go. And again, this is your pretty standard color melt. So it's incorporating a technique that we use pretty often in the salon, I think. My clients always get excited when I have like a few different bowls of color. So they're getting all these different flavors going on. They're like, ooh, what is that? What's going on in that bowl? And I get to tell them, oh, that's Heartbreaker, that's Loverboy, that's Titanium Shield. They're just fun. Definitely not basic names. All right, so I'm gonna take my handy dandy towel down here and just clean my gloves off. And I'm going to move out of the way. Try to keep it as nice and clean as possible. And then again, for the Titanium Shield at the bottom, I'm going to be applying down below so it's its purest tone, and then work my way up versus starting where they merge. And I wanted quite a bit of the Titanium Shield just because I feel like when the hair lays as that veil, it's really pretty. Like aesthetically, when you see those like silvery pieces fall over and then it connects to that holographic like band that goes around that color, that like shine line, if you will. So when it lays over, it like connects it, so it kind of plays into it being nice and seamless. And then merge the shades together. Keep it nice and flat panel that way. It doesn't get all ropey, because once it starts to get ropey, it just makes our life harder. Because you don't know if you are penetrating properly. Again, our product is very creamy, so it's easy to penetrate with, but you don't want to make your life harder. I'm just working my way in. And just kind of swipe it down. And then sometimes your towel falls, so then you just pick it up. There we go. And then 2 more sections here. And you can see like how pretty that looks laying there processing that Titanium Shield with the sheer power. It's so pretty. And keep in mind what the level you're depositing on for these shades. This doll head's level 10, nice and clean. So you're going to see the shades at what their true tones are. If there's any underlying pigment there, if you're have any like yellow or orange going on, that's going to contribute to what you see. So always keep that in mind when you are using especially pastel shades. And then explaining that to clients too, because I feel like a lot of clients will see a look on Instagram or see a look on TikTok and they want it, but they also have to understand, you know, if their hair is a level 6, then titanium shield on a level 6 isn't going to be silver, you know. So explain to your client what it will take to get there, and then, you know, how to take care of it once they're at home. I always try to like educate my clients and make sure that they understand, like, in order to keep that color nice and vibrant or nice and silver or whatever the tone is, like they need to take care of it properly and, you know, have good product in their shower, good styling product, a heat protectant, things like that. All right. So now when we come around the face, we'll do the same thing. It'll be a nice color melt down. I don't want to bore you guys because I feel like it'll be a little redundant if I keep doing that. But you can see I've sectioned out. And again, if you're just joining or you're rewatching, when I section this out, I want to make sure that I'm thinking about baby hairs and the, you know, the placement and everything, so that I'm not drawing attention to something that isn't wanted to be drawn attention to. You don't want to make it look like there's breakage. You want it to be very nice and seamless. And so that's why I've sectioned out these, so that you can give that color melt. So if they wear their hair back, there's a nice seamless color melt and it incorporates nicely with the rest of the look. So again, diamond section here, this is the veil. So it's gonna lay over. Everything wrapped inside of these mesh sheets is gonna be the holographic look. So you can see, to rinse this super easy, I'm just gonna unroll it. Still nice and clean inside and easy to rinse out. I always like to rinse these out with cool water. I feel like it's the best way to keep everything isolated. So nice cool water, and making sure that, you know, I can do sections, and that's why it's really nice that I have, you know, the first color melt underneath here. So I'll rinse that out. I can, you know, take one roll out. Oops. I can take one roll out and rinse it and keep everything very organized, even when it's coming to shampooing. So by doing those little extra steps of isolating everything, it'll help you with every step of the way. So I'm going to pop her off. If anyone has questions, please feel free. So that is the finish. Again, you would color melt around the face, but I don't want to be boring for you guys. And then this is the finished look here. Let me slide her on. So you can see when she's at the side, you see that holographic peeking through internally. So it's very wearable. And let me deglove really quick. I don't want to contaminate her. She's so pretty. But I styled her this morning, so you can kind of see this veil. This is that veil coming through and over her head. So you have that veil, and it connects really nicely to that internal, where you see you have that heartbreaker peeking through with the ends. So it's very, again, wearable. It's a nice, easy transition. So if a client wants to try out this product, you have that holographic like peeking in and underneath. So it's coming from within because it's sandwiched with that veil underneath. And then you have that color melt. So you have the color melt underneath, you have the veil up top, and sandwich in between is where you get those pops of that holographic, which is really pretty. In these tones, you can see that how silver that is in there. And you saw what she started with. So she has a little bit of like a level 10, but like still that butter yellow. So you can see that control that it gave. So they're the same exact doll head. So you can see that really pretty silver tone that you get, which is gorgeous. And then that Heartbreaker, Lover Boy, really beautiful, like delicate, romantic tones. And then you get that holographic effect melted in between. And again, it's nice, it's subtle, it's nothing too scary. So it's a really nice way to get a client to maybe try, again, a different color placement and keep it nice and exciting for you guys behind the chair. And I love it. I think it came out really pretty. Again, I'm incorporating all of our brand new shades that you can get in your Salon Republic store. You just have to ask your Salon Republic rep person there, and they will make sure it's there so you can try it out on your clients. But you can see just that melt. And I love that veil that peeks over because, again, I feel like that silver really helps tie in the whole look together. And then once she's done processing, I'll rinse her out too. Again, processing time is going to be 20 minutes, and I apply it all on dry hair. Again, feel free to, apply how it works for you, but for that longevity and the tonality to be what you see here, you're going to want to apply for 20 minutes, nice dry hair, and I rinsed with cool water, and I've styled her twice and washed her twice. So you can see those tones are still there, super shiny. I styled with my hair lube while it was wet. And then once I blow dried her, I used my Defender as a heat protectant. And then I applied my Stardust and overlaid using my Control. So all of our styling products smell delicious too. And you can see that shine on the hair. It's really bouncy. I didn't cut her hair. I just kind of left her how she came to me in her box, but really pretty, really shiny. Again, I washed her and styled her twice with Hot Tools, and she's still nice and vibrant. That silver's still there, which is incredible. And that's diluted again. This is titanium shield with sheer power. So that's not even full concentrated titanium shield on that. And it's like the perfect silver. There's no blues. It's just nice and silver there. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. Again, if you have any questions at all, please put them in the comments if you're rewatching. The whole team, you can find us on Instagram on all the platforms. Here are the shades again. Here, raw, the new shades. So try them out. Your clients are going to love them. I love them. They look beautiful. They wear beautiful. And I'm super stoked for you guys to try it out. If you do the technique, please take pictures and post it because I'd love to see it. And I hope that was fun for you. I hope you gained something, some education. I had a good time, and I appreciate Salon Republic asking me to do this, and Mydentity. Thank you so much. Again, if there's no questions, I'll let you guys enjoy your Monday. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.